Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
My guest today is Valerie Bertinelli, and I've got to say congratulations, because her new book, Enough Already, right? To all of us, we want to say that not only for our pandemic wait, but for everything, like Enough Already. Perfect title. And Valerie's book is on the New York Times bestseller list. The ink is barely dry. So congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Well, the truth is, you have always, from the time you were a kid, starting out in the business, been relatable. And whether you were a kid in One Day at a Time, whether we watch you on the Food Network with Kids Baking Championship or Valerie's Home Cooking, which has won all kinds of awards, your life, your genius kid, believe me, I know, that adorable little boy who loves mommy's cookings. Who can resist all that? And we all share the same 10 pounds. I thought to myself when I finished your book, we should divide it up, and each of us should be assigned an ounce or two. Life would be so much easier than us being responsible for the whole thing. So now that the book is out, a huge hit, and things are good, and things have been good very often, is happiness there?
Yeah, when I'm intentional about it, it absolutely is. But where I put my focus is where it lies. It's very easy to focus in on all of the negative. I mean, there's so much negative to be able to focus in on, but there's also so much positive out there as well. And I think if we just make it small and in our own world and what we can focus on that can bring us gratitude, that's always helpful to be intentional that way.
Right. And the question a lot of people ask is, are these things we can learn? I mean, women are so hard on themselves more than men. Right? Always. You know, I
can't speak for men only because I'm not a man, but
right, but you have a man, son, and had husband, and not
and
like us.
And I see how hard they are on themselves as well. So I feel like this thought, enough already, is definitely universal. I mean, yes, women, because we live in a patriarchal society. Yes, it is harder on women, and it's even harder on women of color. And it gets harder and harder as you go through the different, the way people categorize you in your lives. But I think, once again, when we can be intentional about what we choose to look at, we can choose to look at the negative or we can choose to look at the positive and pull ourselves through that way. I think that is definitely a path. And I actually give some ideas in the book, like the 21-gram diet, I think is something we could all live by very easily.
Yeah, explain what that is. I thought that was really an interesting way to look at it.
Well, it is said that when you die, your body loses 21 grams. Whether that's your soul leaving, I don't know. But that's what I choose to believe. So when you're on the 21-gram diet, as opposed to trying to lose something, like so many of us are trying to lose weight or lose this or lose that, how about gaining something that feeds your soul? So, thinking about gratitude, thinking about just changing your mind. If your mind starts to fall into some spiral of self-loathing, we can actually work and gear ourselves towards the positive and gaining back that 21 grams and fill our soul.
I love that. So, and I really believe that you believe it takes work, but that you can change the narrative. And not easily for some people, right? But you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, anything that brings us to a better place for some reason is just not easy. But I choose to look at it as when faced with difficulties, that's my chance to get to the other side and to grow and to be a little bit more open to finding that joy, to finding a better place, to finding more happiness. Because without the darkness, there is no light. Without the light there, I mean, you need darkness to be able to see the light. And that's where you have to spend your focus on in the darkest of days. And we've all been through a lot of them, especially the last few years.
Oh, exactly. And even as children, little girls starting early struggle often with self-esteem. And now with this pandemic, we'll throw a little mental health in the pot. And we've really got a lot of issues. And as you point out, for more than 40 years, you've been working on that damn 10 pounds until you reach a point when, right?
It's enough already. It's enough already. And I think it's incredibly important. This is why we need to get ourselves healthy, especially when we have children, so that we can then pass that health onto our children and not say things in front of them that they could then take and internalize. And I think it's really important, the words that we use with children. I mean, I talk about how that my elementary school teacher poked at my belly and told me I was going to have to keep an eye on that. Before that, I wasn't even aware of my body. I didn't even think that there was anything that I had to look a certain way before that happened to me. So I think it's incredibly important to be aware of the words that you use and to let a little girl be a little girl, for Christ's sake. You know, there's enough things to worry about in the world, you know, that we don't need to let them worry about their weight as well.
Well, and the thing is that even with a lot of the angst that you went through, which so many people go through, there was something so solid inside you, the family, the support, the gifts, that you could really, with some pain, but get through it. Even though you questioned, you had the usual anxiety, and more so because you're a public figure, but you did it. And then you could always go back to that delicious crab spinach dip, which I'm reading. I haven't even read the first chapter yet. I thought, I am going to love this book. And I was going to go right in the kitchen and make it, because there definitely is solace in eating something delicious and making something delicious.
It's a way for me to be creative. That's how I use food. I come from a very creative family. My mom was an artist. My brothers all are creative in their own separate ways with different mediums. And I've chosen food. That was the very first thing. I've been cooking longer than I've been acting. It was always fascinating to me. It always made me feel loved, the way my mom served it, the way my grandmother served it, my aunts. It was always something in our family. And then unfortunately for a long time, I used food. I thought it was dangerous. I thought, oh, it's bad. Putting weird things like that on it. And I've now come back to food is love. Food is the way that I share my love. That's my love language, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why I felt it really important to share some recipes in this book as well that go with some of the stories that I tell.
No, they're perfect. And I loved reading about your mother-in-law, too. Valerie was married to a very gifted rock guitarist, musician, and his mother was a fantastic cook from another culture, but she could cook. And I even wanted to try those recipes.
Yeah, Mrs. Van Halen was an amazing cook. And she was able to come to America before you could get all of the ingredients that you can now so easily find. And she was able to make all those beautiful Indonesian dishes with American ingredients. And I was just like flabbergasted at the depth that she had in the kitchen. And what a great gift to be able to learn an entirely different culture way of cooking. And I feel like we are getting much better at it for sure. But to be able to, I always believe this, that there are, noodle dishes in every culture. There are dumpling or ravioli dishes in every culture, and you can find them. And what happens is they use the ingredients that they are born and surrounded with. And that's how you get so many different kinds of beautiful dishes. I think we should be celebrating that.
Without question. And yet it was interesting. You pointed out that your husband, during all those years, Eddie, wasn't a real foodie, even though give him a little whiff of your hot crab dip was spinach, and that was something else. But food is, I always say, it's our Proustian persistence of memory. You know, it brings back, you become your mother, your grandmother, when you look in the mirror. And especially with you and that lasagna, you know, the missing magic ingredient. And your mom. And your mom wasn't Italian, but she mastered.
No. Well, I think that's part of, I mean, I talk about it in the book that, you know, she was really given a hard time when her and my dad got together, and they did not accept her into the family. And I think it was her, either she did it, and this is my regret of not being able to talk to my mom more about these type of things, is that was her way, whether it was subconsciously or consciously, I am going to win these women over by being the best Italian chef I can possibly be. And she was. She was an English-Irish woman that you would never know it by the way she cooked, because her Italian meals were unbelievable and just as good as my nonnies and my Aunt Adeline and my Aunt Norma.
And you inherited. Does your son Wolfie cook? He's a gifted, by the way, for those who don't know. He's a musician.
My son definitely got his father's gift.
Yeah, amazing. And you point out, which from the time he was, even before he was born, your husband was putting music to your belly so that the fetus could hear it.
Yeah. Yeah,
and it worked.
From the moment I got pregnant, Ed was hoping, whether it's a girl or a boy, I'm going to be playing music with this baby. And boy, did Wolfie show up. And from a very, very young age, he was fascinated with all the musical instruments that were leaning against walls and sofas, and they were all over our house. So Wolfie immediately was enthralled with all of it. And it has proven to be his gift in life is to make music, and he is so amazing at it, and I'm so grateful that people are seeing what I see in Wolfie and what Ed saw in Wolfie.
Right. Well, he's got the gift.
He does, for sure.
And you have a very close family. Even when you got divorced, you never let each other go. That family was family with a capital F, no matter what.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Ed was angry with me for a few years after I left.
Well, kids,
and
why
we got
not?
through
He's
that.
a kid.
Yeah, but we were able to find our way back to each other again, thankfully. And it's for people that haven't experienced the same sort of thing with their exes, I guess it's hard to understand. But Ed and I always loved each other deeply and cared more about Wolfie than to be too angry with each other except for a few years there.
Yeah. And did he read the book, Valerie?
Wolfie read some passages because I wanted to pass those through him first, because if he was uncomfortable with them, I wasn't going to keep them in the book.
Uh-huh. And after you finished the book, was it like when you finished going to a shrink, did you feel a sense of relief and a sense of, it's okay, I feel I've come through it and I'm in a good place?
Yes, that and immense fear that now I was actually going to publish it. It's like, do I really want to do this? This is I'm a little nervous about this because it is so raw and so vulnerable and very open. And I thought, well, you know what? For the people that are going to get it and it connects with and it helps them through their life, fabulous. And for the people that don't, well, it's not for them, and that's okay.
But you know what? That is really part of your gift. That ability to be open and to share and to have someone say, that could be me.
Yeah.
You know, that's not easy. And you do that instinctively. And we can all reach out and say, oh my God, how does she know me? That's what I think and that's what I say.
Because we all have been through so many of the same things. You know, the people may change, obviously, or change. You know, the parts are different, but all of these emotions that we all feel, they're all so similar, and it brings us together. I think instead of taking us apart, we can identify with each other. I think that's what makes us more one and more feeling not so alone.
You know, it's I hired an organizer at one point, determined to get rid of all the junk that I've collected over a lifetime. And she found my secret stash of Barnett College clothes, size 8. You can imagine how many years later. And she said to me, "What's this?" Oh, I said, "Don't throw those out." And she said, "You are never going to wear those clothes again. Throw them out." And it was so painful. And I threw them out. And I threw them because
good for you.
But we're like that, right? I mean,
yes.
All right. I'm getting back to
the
that.
Past and things. I mean, there's a few things. Obviously, I still have my wallabies. I have a whole chapter
I
about
loved
it.
your wallabies.
And we hold on to some of those things. But, I mean, most of it we can let go of. Now, here I am saying this, and I still have a closet I need to go through that I swore on the first day of the shutdown of the pandemic that I was going to go through my closet and get rid of anything that didn't fit me. And here I am 2 years later, and I still haven't done it.
I know, but look what you did. We were just saying, so many of
instead.
us. Yeah, you wrote a book instead. I think I'd rather do that. A lot of us are like, it's going on 3 years. We're like queens of nothingness at a certain point. We've learned to do nothing. I'm shocked. I'm so good at it. Doing nothing.
What? And I think more of us need to learn how to do nothing, because doing nothing means a lot to me, if I may quote AC/DC.
No, but that's like many of us who were so hyper, like 9 things in one day, learned. And I don't say it's good or necessarily bad, but it's sort of weird that we can do that without feeling guilty.
I think it's super important. I think rest and being with family is just as important as what we do for work to pay our bills. And I think America, we're just making an adjustment, because work shouldn't be the be-all and end-all. It should be your life and your connections with your family that is the be-all and end-all.
Yeah, but you have always had work, and you never forgot the importance, too, of your parents, your brothers, and family.
My whole life. Mm-hmm.
I know.
I'm a workaholic my whole life since I was 12. So I think it's time to. Obviously, we need to work to pay our bills, but I think there needs to be a happy medium in there somewhere.
But do you feel you've now crossed the line with the happy medium, that you can put it all together? Or listen, it's very hard when you're a workaholic and you've got the opportunity to be one. Mm-hmm. To turn your back on it. I mean, you can't do that.
Well, the problem with being I'm so it's polar opposite. And then when I'm lazy, I am the laziest. Maybe lazy is the wrong word, but I rest as hard as I work, and I really enjoy it. And I've gotten to a point now where I don't feel guilty about doing nothing anymore. I used to feel so guilty. Why am I not doing something? I should be doing something right now. Why not just relax and enjoy what you've worked for? So it's I'm still getting there, and I'm there a lot more. But I have learned that I work just as hard at resting as I do at working, and that's okay.
And that's a gift. And I think everyone has to learn that. And that's but you're still doing 2 TV shows for the Food Network, and now promoting your book and doing all kinds of things. How are the Food Network shows? Still fun?
Oh, yeah. I just met with my culinary producer yesterday, and we're just going through 13 more episodes that we're going to start shooting soon.
That's great. And the kids baking thing, I can't believe those kids. How do those kids know how to do that?
It's amazing. They just, there's so much on the internet about baking and on Food Network, and they eat it all up, because kids always need to find a creative outlet. We need to let our children be creative. A lot of kids choose this baking, which is so creative for them. Our schools have gotten pared down so much to where they're just learning science, learning biology, learning this, learning that, and they're not just given. I don't know many schools that still have just baking classes or art classes or drama classes.
Now.
It's so rare, and music classes, and we need to be able to expand that other side of the child's brain. So good for them for finding creative outlets, and we should give that to our children more. It's a gift.
Right.
Or it should be.
They're absolutely amazing. So now, at this point, with a very full plate a little time to rest and great success. What's on the Valerie wish list, or are you just letting it happen?
The older I get, the more I just let it happen, for sure. I mean, I have some things planned that I'm very excited about. But yes, I'm writing in the middle of just starting, actually, a new cookbook that will hopefully be out next year. I'm going to be doing a pilot with Demi Lovato.
Oh,
a theme is indulge.
Oh, I love that.
It's the opposite of enough already. Let's just indulge.
I think that's right. Part 2 of enough already. Indulge is perfect. And you've got to put that cake that you describe with all those layers and the frosting.
Oh, yeah, the love cake. It's amazing.
Oh, that cake sounds incredible.
It is.
Well, you have enough for indulge. And then what is the project after that or with that?
I'm shooting a pilot with Demi Lovato.
Wow.
And it's written by the same brilliant woman, Suzanne Martin, who wrote Hot in Cleveland, and I'm very excited about that.
I know, and it must have been with the passing of Betty White, who, God bless her, had this incredible life with
Betty.
Working with her, and amazing, right? She named your dogs?
Yeah. She named my dog Luna. She named one of my cats Nelson. She was just a gift to all of us, and I feel lucky to have been able to spend 5 years working with her.
Well, we're so happy that you had time to visit today. I really got such a big kick and learned a lot, and the book is right out there. I mean, no one is more open than Valerie and willing to share. And enough already, it's going to be our mantra on our T-shirt.
Thank you, Joan.
I'll edit. All the best to you and your family.
Thanks.
Let us know when your kid's music comes out so we can all promote it. He sounds fantastic.
You can get it now, streaming everywhere. It's Mammoth WVH, and it's brilliant. He's been nominated for a Grammy. I'm just super excited.
Can you believe that, your baby? Unreal.
My baby's been nominated for a Grammy.
Oh, well, a gift, too. All right, all the best to you and yours. I'll talk to you again, I hope, very soon.
Thank you, Joan. Bye-bye.